Okay, so I'm going to be going over my system here, hot tub cold plunge system, and just going to be going through the plumbing that's needed. So the type of plumbing that I'll be using and why I'm using it, and then as well as you can't talk about plumbing unless you also talk about gallons per minute or gallons per hour. So the flow that you're going to be using, and then how that all comes together. So in this particular video, I'm just going to go briefly over the plumbing as well as the flow and what I'll be using to measure flow as well as reducer fittings and so on and so forth. So in my particular application, I'm going to be using 1 inch all the way throughout. So 1 inch I think is the happy medium because we have this Grizzly cooler. It comes with torrent twists, and you can actually swap those proprietary torrent twists out with a 3/4 fitting from Grizzly. Now, the 3/4 fitting is too small, and I called Grizzly, and they do not have an option to go from their Torrent Twist proprietary thread to a 1 inch. So I had to get bulkhead fittings, and I'll tell you more about those in another video. But so we'll be going 1 inch out of the Grizzly cooler from the inlet and outlet. No holes are going to be put in there. And then I'll set up this whole configuration in another video to show exactly specifically what we're going to be doing. But we're going to be going through this Balboa heater. It's inline heater. Now this is about 2.5 inches in diameter. So this will be reduced to 1 inch, and that's totally fine. What will happen is there's going to be some restriction before it gets into this 2.5 inch. And what will end up happening is that the flow will slow down as you go into a larger diameter pipe, and in return, that's going to be beneficial for us because then we'll heat up the water more that's inside of this inline heater. So that'll actually be beneficial for us. I have no problem going from 1 inch to 2 inches and a quarter. If I was going 2 inches and a quarter to 3/4, that's too much for me. It's not worth it. That's why I didn't go with the torrent twist that you can buy for that Grizzly cooler. Unfortunately, they don't sell them. So you just get a bulkhead for that. So anyway, then I'll be going with 1 inch across. So my filter, I'm going to be using something similar, but that's going to be 1 inch. I'm going to be using this Banjo inline strainer. That's 1 inch. And then we're going to have 1 inch fittings on the pump, and we're going to have 1 inch fittings on the chiller. Now, also, we're going to have 1 inch fittings on your the flow sensor. So I need to talk about flow real quick. So this pump depicts a lot of the flow. So I got the chiller, and the 1.5 horsepower chiller is required to have this Eco Plus 1267, which is 1,267 gallons per hour. And that is converted to 21 gallons per minute as well as 80 liters per minute. Now, when you go to your flow sensor, you find liters per minute. So as you can see here, the range is 3 to 120 liters per minute. Now, what you want in a system, my system, remember, it's 80 liters per minute. What you want in a system is about half. So your maximum flow should be your maximum flow should be around like double the operating flow of your plumbing system. So in my case, it's 80. This is 120. It's not quite half, but it's good enough. I'm okay with that. And you want, of course, 24 volts for the electrical system that we're going to be using that I'll be talking about in another video as well. So that's the overall kind of the high level view of the plumbing as well as the flow rate. And this system is going to work great. The organization of all this and how it's going to all be put together, I'll make another video on that. But this one just kind of goes over anything related to what we talked about. Feel free to message, send a comment out. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, and love to see what you're working on or just work alongside with you.